Yo race family, just decided to show y'all a little update on the new Leash racing shop car, all built in house. We've been working on this thing pretty steady here lately. This is going to be it looks pretty extreme right there, but once the interior goes in and the floor goes in, most of that jungle gym won't be seen. 15-gallon fuel cell hiding under there, so I can make some miles with it. Planning on doing this one as a completely drivable, comfortably drivable street car that is still full race potential. I've actually been wanting to build this thing for quite a few years now, and finally getting to do it. It's gonna be pretty cool. I'm more excited about this car than anything that I've ever built, just because it's going to be so easy to get into, easy to drive, just fun to do whatever with. You know, I'm having a lot of fun with my little Trans Am right now, and it's all fine and dandy, but this car here just has my heart. I don't know why. I mean, I'm the only crazy person to have built two of these cars. But as you see, it's going to be LS powered. This will probably be the engine that stays in it, although I've got another engine too. But there's the little turbo is going to be tucked down there. Little 98mm turbo. There's full-size radiator. Really good radiator with some super fans on it. I originally bought that radiator to go in one of my S10s that I had, and it was a pretty expensive radiator, but it's really efficient. It works good. That's some C7 Corvette manifolds that I'm going to turn into some turbo manifolds. As you see, all of the factory front end is staying on the car. It's not going to be all butchered up. We even built you can't really see it in there, but we built a K-member, bolt-in K-member, just kind of like the factory one does, with A-arms like factory, struts like factory. I did have to use Mustang struts and modify those to work. Got some Brakeman brakes all the way around it. Got these retro wheels here, and to tell you the truth, they're for sale. So if anybody is looking for a set of these retros, I will sell them, because that's not really the wheel that I want on here. It's going to have a 3-speed turbo 400. It's actually going to have a gear vendor's unit on it, but that's in my Trans Am right now. I need to get that out of the Trans Am so I can put it in here. I just have to get the drive. I've got another drive shaft for the Trans Am that I have to get shortened a little bit so that I can put it back in there. Well, we're working pretty heavily on the cage right now. My boy Brian Zardo has been doing pretty much all of the cage work. I've just been supervising and putting a second eye on everything for him. The old Kaiser Wheels there. 15x12s with some 275s on it. It's got a 4-link setup. It's kind of hard to see in there, but it's not your ordinary full Pro Mod type 4-link setup. This 4-link setup is set up pretty similar to a stock suspension Mustang as far as the way the upper and lower control arms are. So I think it'd make a really good setup, especially for the small tire and the radio type stuff that we do. And 10 Soldiers race cars, they're the ones that make that bracket. Car's gonna have full interior in it. It's gonna have 2 front seats that look like that. Actually, that's one of them. So they're real front seats. The rear seats in the back, they're a little cheater seat, but it's actually a nice seat. We mounted them up and they fit in there really good, and they're actually comfortable. It is a little tight, so some long-legged fools like old Justin Musich up here, they're gonna have a little bit of trouble squeezing back there. And I don't know about Brent. He might. I know Brent's normally pretty motivated, so he can get his butt in there. It may be a tight fit, but I'm sure he'll get his butt in there if he knows it. That's his only choice to ride. But this is the project that's coming along actually pretty fast right now. I think by the end of the week we'll have maybe all of the cage done. At that point it'll be just mocking up stuff and getting any kind of tabs and stuff welded in. I really can't wait till we get it to the point where I can go get it powder coated, because that's when it looks magical to me, is when it's powder coated, all pretty looking. We slide it back in here, start putting the floor back in it, all that good stuff. Got to patch that big hole in the firewall. Had to cut that out because the factory firewall right there had just a really weird spot in it, like a big dip, all kinds of craziness, where I guess the original air conditioner box and stuff went. So I cut that out and I'll just weld in a nice flat piece. And where the turbo's at, there will actually be a nice filter down here that I'm gonna probably box it in with that hole there. I'll cut that hole out, and that's probably where I'm gonna get the fresh air to it at. Big nice radiator in there. I really hate that this intake is so tall. I wish it was a little shorter, because this part here is gonna have to come through the hood a little bit. I really didn't want to cut the hood. I would do some trading for a shorter billet intake of some other style, but as of right now, it's looking like I'm going to have to use it. But to make it fit a little bit better, I'm gonna come straight out of this with a flange and a pipe and go 90 down and then 90 over, and I'll actually put a throttle body in the pipe here, and then it'll go down and connect to the turbo. The car's gonna be a legit street car. You see, got power steering rack on it, so it's gonna have power steering, naturally an alternator. So it'll be a legit cruiser. You know, my goal is I want this to be a car that every day I want to jump in it and drive to town. So we can get ready for lunch or something like that. You know, at least 4 of us can load up in here and drive all the way to town. But I'd like to do some of the drag and drive events. That'd be really awesome. Some of that Rocky Mountain stuff. Maybe even one of these days do the drag week. This would be the car to do it with. It's gonna have plenty of room on the inside. We can throw all kinds of junk in here. It's gonna have a legit trunk in it with plenty of room, because this whole flat area will be nice and covered and carpeted, so lots of luggage room there. That would be pretty badass. But anyway, this is where we're at right now, so when I get a little bit further along, I'll get some more videos of it, but it's got us pretty excited. I think we're all digging it. I mean, it's a crazy car. I mean, and don't let it fool you. It's not a small car like a lot of people think. A lot of people think, oh, that's a little bitty, tiny, super lightweight car. It's not. It's a longer wheelbase than a Fox body or an F body. It's a tall car in the center, which is what makes it look generally like it's a small car. But this car, when it gets done, I'm guessing that it's going to probably come in at around 3,200 pounds. You know, ready to go make a pass. I hope it's no heavier than that, but it could be. But that's what I'm shooting for, 3,100, 3,200 pounds. And I think it would be pretty sweet. Anyway, all right, until next time.